Well, this week we have two teams that are still undefeated, and we have 5 teams. Did I get it right? 5 teams? Okay. Four teams that have not yet won a game. And for the fifth straight week, or third straight week, one of these teams is going to have a game of the week again. This is Sports Hour. What is going on? It's Alexander Thomas here. Welcome back to this. Is going to be we are in week 5. We're in the end of week 5. We are working for the predictions for week 6 this week. Last week, we were going prediction 5. I'm still first in our division. Although everyone did pretty well this last week. I had 16-4. Everyone else did pretty decently though. Everyone got more wins than they got losses. What's that? The current high right now is 70% is the current high. Yeah, now if we did look at the most penalties, it's still the Chargers are still 0-5. Fewest penalties is Panthers 5-0. I do have them in actual order. The Beagles have the most points overall, while the Bulldogs have the best defense. And this is all up to date, so you guys can go look at this as well. It's right next to them is their record: 2-2-2, 2-2-1, could be it. And they had Leland Cats are 5-0. So there are several teams that are still at this point undefeated. Yet Panthers are still undefeated, and if we look at the position for the playoffs, they still pick first place. I have not actually updated this, so we're going to do that right now. The Panthers would still, at this point, be first place. Still have the position for that. The Foxes would be in third. Angels would be second. Bears would end up being fourth. And with the wild cards, it's a little more difficult because the context here. But currently, the Dragons would end up being fifth. And though it is close, Hawks are actually in the playoffs right now. Is that right, the Hawks? They're in the 7th position, and the Knights would be in the next position here for the 6th. And finally, the team making the playoffs right now would be the Legends in the 8th position. These teams are all the ones that would be, if the playoffs were to occur today. These are teams against. Honestly, there's no one that's been eliminated yet, and no one on the block. No one's wanting to get behind. I can't do any one games that are won the block because it's impossible to do that until like week 15 or please. Meanwhile, over here, Leland Cats are still number 1, being 5-0. Werewolves are in the second position, being 4-1. Stars are up here in number 3. Bulldogs are here for number 4. As for the ones behind, Werewolves, the Otters. The Otters are the next position. The Otters currently are 5th. The Werewolves would be 6th. And as of right now, it's a little more difficult, with Westville would end up being 7th. And finally, after all of that, making sure I have everything correct here. I believe it would be, was it Superman? Or is it the, it would be the, it's currently the Lynx that are in the 8th position. All these teams, these are the teams that are currently would be in the playoffs if the game was to occur today. But now we're going to go ahead and go for the week-to-week basis. There are a few things to note for this next week. Once again, for the 3rd straight week, in week 4, it was the Werewolves and Leland Cats. Both of them are up there. In week 5, it was the Angels and the Leland Cats. In week 6, it's the Werewolves and Leland Cats again. Yeah, they play back-to-back weeks, so basically in the same weeks. Yes. Now, I've already done these are the predictions I've already put up for each of the other players that are currently in the game. But they're it's a little bit interesting for this one. Starting off, we have the Foxes and the Tigers. Tigers not doing well whatsoever. Tigers are down here in one of the worst positions, allowing a lot of points in the game for them. They're in the bottom 5 in both of these things, both offense and defense. So, yes. For the Foxes, while not necessarily, they're in the middle of the pack in both these cases. If you look at the Foxes are 4-1, losing only to the Panthers. That's the only loss they've gotten at this point. And the Tigers are last in their division. No, they're not even close. They're going to be. Yes, they're in the same division. They're playing. I think this is the second time they're playing. I just don't see either one of this team doing it well at all. I'm going to have to go with the Foxes, and everyone else is going for the Foxes as well. All right, we have the Dragons and the Pirates. A tough one here Saturday at 3 o'clock. Everyone picks the Pirates. Everyone else picked the Dragons. This is a tough one for me. The Dragons are the second best in scoring points. And they have they're dead last in points allowed. So they're best at scoring, but they're worst at everything else. This is a tough one. Versus the Pirates, who are in the middle of the pack for scoring and pretty much on the high end of points allowed. This is a tough one. But to be honest, because of the amount of things the Pirates have done, I'm going to go with the Pirates here. I think that the Dragons, while will be doing very well, this will be a very close game in the end. It is not going to be enough to keep them alive. All right, the next one we've got is the Beagles. Beagles being 2-1 versus the Bobcats. Beagles are number 1 in the league right now. Yes, they're number 1 in the league for points scored. They're, however, 31st for points allowed. So this is a tough one for me. They have a really good offense and a very, very good defense. Or decent defense, I should say. Not the very good, decent. Bobcats have one of the better defenses in the league and are kind of in the average. This is a pretty good matchup for these two teams. Sure, the Bobcats are 4-1 at this point. The Beagles are 2-1, 50%. But this is a really good one for these teams. It's kind of split even right now for any of these teams. Most people think the Beagles are going to win this game. Most of the people have predicted the Beagles are going to win this game. But this could go either way, in my opinion. I'm going to go with the Beagles winning this game, but it's not going to be easy to win for them. Cardinals and the Angels. Cardinals being one of the... Cardinals being very bad in both of them. They are 26th in points allowed and 31st in points scored. This is not going to be a good matchup for them. And especially since they're playing the Angels, who England are pretty high up in both of these. I think this is completely an Angel win, this one. I just don't see the Cardinals coming back from winning this game. All right, then we got the Legends. 16th ranked, but a 32nd defense. That puts them like in the 28th position, basically, and somewhere around there, versus the Knights, who have a pretty high score in both ways. I think the Knights are going to be slightly better in this case. So I have to go with the Knights here, but it is going to be a tough one for them to get. I think both of these games could potentially win this game. All right, the Giants and the Warriors. Giants. Yeah, Giants are 1-4. They are 20th, and then they are 36th offense, 26th defense. Yeah, this is not going to be good for them. They're in the middle of the range for the actual defensive position, and they're pretty much one of the last positions for it. Versus the Warriors, who are 4th in points scored and 18th points allowed. This is a pretty easy thing for me to decide. I think this is going to have to be the Warriors going on that way. Ravens and the Saints, they're playing the division, I believe. Ravens being in a pretty average position, kind of in the middle of the pack, kind of the upper middle for the pack. They're in a position that they've been allowing about as many points as they're scoring. Versus the Saints, ST. Saints are currently in the 19th position for defense, so not a terrible defense, and they apparently don't even exist on the offensive side. I'll have to figure out which one that is. I think we can go to the offense to figure this out. We can go see. They have a 483, so they would be somewhere. I may have spelled it wrong, which might be why. So they would be 438. Is that what this one? 438. So that's 438 in points scored, which would put them right here. Yeah, I spelled it wrong. I didn't put there's missing a T here. Okay, so they're in not necessarily a bad position, but they're not in the best position, and it's gonna be a tough one for me because the Ravens aren't the showing it. They're kind of in the middle position too. The Saints are only a few points above them, and only 3 points below them. So it's going to be a tough matchup. Griffins and Saints could be either way. I don't even know where to go from this one. I'm going to go with the Saints winning this game. It's going to be a tough one, though, to win this game either way. We've got the Bulldogs and the Browns. The Bulldogs, who are first in defense, but very bad in offense. They're 388 in actual scoring. And then they got the Browns, who are pretty bad in both positions. So this is going to be a complete. I think the Bulldogs are going to show up and actually have a better defense here. Both these teams are pretty ants. I actually say the Bulldogs win this game because of the defensive structure. No one else thinks that, but I do think it. All right, we'll come back to the game of the week in a second. Panthers and Dogs. I don't think there's any question here. Dogs only having one win at this point. Dogs are being our worst in defense, or in offense, sorry, and one of the worst in defense, versus the Panthers, who are 6th in offense and kind of in 30th in defense. I'm sorry, Dogs. You guys don't have a chance. Panthers win that the entire way. Chargers and the Hawks. Hawks surprised us and actually had a win, and because they're playing the Chargers, who have done a terrible job, they're actually in a pretty position for the Hawks. Versus the Chargers. If we find the Chargers here, the Hawks are actually in a position. They're in the 9th for defense, and offense is not too bad either. Chargers are 3rd in points scored. That means nothing, though, because they're 38th in defense, allowing 503 points per game. I just do not see the Hawks losing this game. It just doesn't seem like to me the Chargers even have a chance, especially if they can keep committing fouls. They had 98 last week. What was it, 98? They had 89 last week. So, sorry guys, that doesn't work. They actually had 89 week 4. So they had like 97s last week. So they actually are getting better, but seriously, the way it works out for me, I still don't see any way for the Chargers to win that game. All right, we have the Indians and the Kings. Both these teams. Indians haven't won a game yet. They have not scored very well either, but they're actually not in a bad position for they're kind of in the middle of the pack for defense right now. However, the problem is their offense is not good. That's what's going to decide it. The Kings here kind of are in 21st and 22nd for 22nd, so I think they're going to do a whole lot better. Yes. The only problem I say with the Kings is the Kings only have like 450 in scoring, and they're allowing 441. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. I still say the Kings win this game, and I just don't see there's any way to dance. Tex and UNC. The Tex. It's just the Tex, not Tex. Tex are actually 3rd, or actually 10th in points scoring, but they're near last in points allowed. Versus UNC, which actually stands for the United National Cats. They're 10th in defense and awful in it. So this is actually going to be a completely opposite game. This could go either way for me. I'm going to say UNC wins this game, but this is going to be a very, very tough matchup. Colts and Superman. Everyone thinks of Superman. By the way, there was a backup game last week. You guys might have seen it. It's the Dolphins and Superman and Dragons and Chargers. Dragons are played the Chargers last week, and the Dolphins played the Superman. There was a mix-up in that one. That was my bad. I'm sorry about that. So if you guys did see the last one, I did predict it wrong. That was not completely right. All right, moving on. Colts and Superman. We have the Colts. I don't think the Colts are 1-4 at this point. Colts are pretty bad at the 29th and the 33rd. And they're allowing way more points than they're scoring. So, no. This is going to be tough. The Supermen, on the other hand, are third in the points scoring. They're 27th. But I think, honestly, their strong defense will win them the game. I'm going to go with the Supermen here, along with everyone else. Lynx and the Lions. Okay. Lynx are the 18th in scoring and 25th in points allowed. Not a terrible lineup, to be honest. Now, so this would be a very good game. This could be a really good game. Here's the problem. Lions are 24th and 16th. They have basically exactly opposite records. This could be either way. And the LLLY is the Lynx and the LI is the Lions. This could go either way for me. I'm going to go with the Lynx winning this game, but this could, again, be either way. It's good. Westville and the Stars. Okay. Westville being 5th in the league, and then 25th in the league in points scored. But they're only scoring slightly more than they're actually gaining. And I have to say this is going to be a tough one for me to go with that one. Versus the Stars doing actually pretty well. They get 14th in both of them. 14th in scoring and 14th in defense. Not a bad scoreline, and I think they'll do better in this game. I don't like going with either one of these teams, but because the Stars are doing really well at this point, this could be an either way game. I'm going to go with the Stars winning this game, but again, this could be either way. Lightning, 13th in defense, 37th in offense. They're allowing more points than are scoring. Not exactly the best option. Now the 8th they're 9th in points scored, but they're near dead last in the minutes for their actual scoring. I don't like this. I have to go with the Lightning here. 8th do have a good chance, I say, but it just doesn't work out that way. Bears and Otters. This, I believe, is a defensive game. Bears are 15th in points allowed and 23rd in points scored. Not bad for either one of these teams, for this team. While the Otters, they're second in defense and 30th in points scored. But honestly, it's not really that big of a deal for me. I have to go with the Otters here because they're high defensive rating. Now, granted, one of those games was was allowing 13 points, but one of these games they allowed 16 points in one of those games. So I mean, it's kind of an offense weird thing here, but I'll go with that. Falcons and the Jets. Okay, the Jets are in a much better position to win this game. They're just no way. They're 7th in points scored and 28th in points defensive. Versus the Falcons, while they are very high in defensive, they are very low in points. I have to go with the Jets here, and everyone else is going with it. Fast one, we get the Packers in. It's 20th and 34th. 3 and 2. But they're allowing more points than there are scoring. So that's not exactly a good factor for them. Dolphins, 28th. And hits. There's not really doing much better than actually scoring. But I do actually think the Dolphins will have a better chance of winning this game, even though they are 1-4. The last game we've got is the Werewolves and Leland Cats. This is a rematch from 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago they played, and the Werewolves Cats did win that game, although it was a very close game. This is going to be, a tough one for me to go with. because the Werewolves at this point are 15th and 23rd. Cats, on the other side, are actually much in a better position. They're 8th and 20th and 11th. I had to go with the Cats here because I think the Cats have a much better chance to win this game. Poppy, I'm glad you went for the Werewolves because that's probably going to be a big loss. That is going to be it for sports out for the sports hour for this one here. Next week we're going to have some interesting lineups. And of course, if the games were to happen right now, I'm going to close that. If the games were to happen right now, these would be who the teams would be in the playoffs. But we got a long way to go. We are currently, if I'm correct, we got a long way to go before that. We are currently only in week 5. And there are a total of 16 games in the season. So we've got a long way to go. I would say we probably have until probably week 11 before we even have any chance of anyone being eliminated from the playoffs. Well, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. And don't forget to keep your game on. If you guys do want to take control of one of these teams, go and let me know in the comments. And send an email to Alex. Nope, that's not it. To nblsportshour@gmail.com. You guys have until about halfway to the season before I can't really do it anymore. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.